Hello everyone, welcome to Mastering Up YouTube channel. We'll be discussing the foundation of international relations, theories, policies, and global dynamics. My name is Esther Temilola, and I will be your guide for this exciting course. In this course, we'll discuss how countries interact with each other and how it affects our world. We'll cover basic principles of international relations, important theories and policies, global issues and dynamics. Whether you're a student, professional, or curious learner, this course is for you. We'll break down complex concepts into simple and easy to understand language. Let's start this journey together as we go deeper into the course. Now, let's look at what this course aims to achieve, which takes us to the course objective. The goal of this course is to give you a deep understanding of international relations by covering the history of how countries interact, theories that explain global politics, including theories such as realism, liberalism, constructivism, and much more. Students will gain vast knowledge on the geopolitical dynamics that shape our world and how policies are made and implemented. Through this course, we will discuss the major conflicts that have shaped the world. We will talk on the key international institutions and their roles, as well as the current events in the world and their global impacts. Now let's discuss what you achieve by taking this course, and these are the lesson outcomes. By the end of this course, you'll be able to analyze international relations theories in order to understand and evaluate major theories such as realism and neorealism, constructivism, gender theories, and much more. You will learn how these theories shape our understanding of global politics and interactions. We'll also discuss and understand key historical events. We'll recognize pivotal moments in history such as the First and Second World War, the Cold War, and globalization. You see how these events continue to influence current international politics and relations. We also evaluate global institutions and assess the roles and functions of key institutions such as the United Nations, the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, the World Trade Organization, understanding the impact on economic cooperation. We will also assess international policies as a lesson outcome by evaluating the implication of policies on global and local stakeholders. We will address contemporary global challenges and analyze these challenges to consider potential solutions. By achieving this outcome, students will gain a deeper understanding of international relations and our interconnected world. Let's make international relations easy to understand through our modules. The first module is an introduction to international relations. In this module, we will explore the foundation of international relations, and generally we understand that international relations is the study of how countries interact, work together, and sometimes disagree. It is like a big web of relationship between nations, organizations, and people. We learn that international relation covers many areas and aspects, including the political, economic, cultural, and the security aspects. There is a need to learn about international relations because it helps to prevent wars among nations of the world and instead promotes peace. We'll also discuss the historical evolution and major events of international relations. There have been various events that revolve around the world wars, such as the First and Second World War, the Cold War, which was between USA and defunct Soviet Union, as well as the post-Cold War. So it's important to know that international relations will help to reduce these wars among nations, especially in the future. We'll also learn about the various actors that are existent in the study of international relations, which are the state actors, the non-state actors, such as the non-governmental organizations, and we'll also discuss the international organizations such as the United Nations, the European Union, and so much more. Now that we have established the foundations of international relations, let us dive into the theoretical framework that shape our understanding of global interactions. Welcome to Module 2, Theories of International Relations. In this module, we will be discussing 6 key theories that help state behavior and explain international interactions and global outcome. The first theory is realism and neorealism, and this focuses on state security, power, and self-interest. The second theory is constructivism, which talks about the role of ideas and norms in shaping international relations. We also have the feminist theory, which focuses on the gender aspect of international relations. It emphasizes the impact of patriarchy and gender roles on global politics. We also have Marxism and critical theories, which helps to examine the economic aspects and the class dimensions of international relations. This particular theory helps to prevent class inequality in international relations. And lastly, we have liberalism and neoliberalism that talks more on cooperation, free trade, democracy, and economic interdependence. Now let's turn our attention to Module 3, Global Institutions and Governance. In this module, we will examine the roles, the structures, and impact of key global institutions. We will discover how the United Nations promotes peace, security, and development through its General Assembly and its specialized agencies. We will also learn about the World Trade Organization and its role in promoting free trade, resolving disputes, and setting global trade standards. There are also regional organizations that help to foster economic integration and cooperation within specific geographic areas. All of this will be learned in Module 3. We'll talk about global institutions and the need to understand how International Monetary Fund, which is known as the IMF, and World Bank help to promote global economic stability by providing financial assistance to different nations of the world. And this financial assistance has the aim to address development challenges. Let's now zoom in onto how countries interact with each other. Module 4 takes us into the foreign policy analysis. In this module, we will discuss more about foreign policy and will focus on foreign policy decision-making processes. This helps to uncover the factors that are influencing foreign policy decisions, from national interest to systematic politics. We will also need to explore and understand the various instruments that are used in diplomatic relations, and these instruments include negotiations, sanctions, as well as diplomacy. In this module, we will examine case studies in foreign policy, and we use real-world examples as case studies. We could use examples such as the relations between United States and China, which comprises cooperation and competition, and so much more real-world examples in this module. We'll also assess national interests and ideology to understand how national interests shape foreign policy choices. By understanding foreign policy analysis, we will gain insight into the interactions between nations of the world. Welcome to Module 5. Module 5 talks about security and conflict in international systems. In this module, we will examine the type of conflicts, which include the conventional, unconventional, and hybrid warfare. This is to give an understanding of how the nature of modern conflicts have evolved over time. We will also look through nuclear proliferation and disarmament. We will explain the delicate balance between deterrence and disarmament among nations. We will explore the different strategies that can be used to solve the evolving threat of terrorism in Module 5. And lastly, we will gain knowledge about cybersecurity threats and how nations can protect infrastructures from cyber attacks. Module 6: Globalization and International Political Economy. In this module, we will examine economic interdependence and global supply chains. We learn how international trade and investment shape global economic relations. We also gain in-depth knowledge on trade agreements and economic sanctions among nations of the world by understanding the role of tariffs, quotas, and sanctions in international trade. We also focus on the Sustainable Development Goals, which are the SDGs, and here we'll learn how the United Nations aim to achieve economic and environmental sustainability. As we know that nations are becoming increasingly interconnected, the impact of globalization on states and markets is necessary to understand. We've also assessed the benefits and challenges of globalization for national economics and global governance. By learning about globalization and international political economy, we'll better understand the forces that shape our interconnected world and the future of global cooperation. This takes us to Module 7, where we'll examine human rights and international law. We'll look at the institutions that hold perpetrators accountable. And we know that such institutions include the International Criminal Court, which is the ICC. We'll learn about the role of the ICC and other tribunals. And this will give us an understanding of the ICC's success, their mandates, and the challenges that they face in prosecuting international crimes. We'll also discuss pressing human rights issues like minority rights, the refugees, and much more. We'll consider the tension between sovereignty and intervention, and we'll do this by exploring the responsibility to protect, which is known as the R2P, and the role of humanitarian intervention. Welcome to Module 8, where we'll discuss the pressing issues that shape contemporary international landscape. We'll tackle climate change and environmental diplomacy in discussing contemporary issues in international relations. And we will do this by talking about sustainability and global cooperation. As we know that climate change is a pressing issue in the modern world, so understanding climate change is very, very important. We will focus our attention to discuss migration and refugee crisis, and this will give an understanding of human dimensions of displacement and international responses to these displacements. The COVID-19 pandemic has also given us a reason to talk about global health security. So discussing this module will help us analyze international cooperation in the face of health crisis. We'll also discuss the implication of technology for international relations and know the intersection of technology for international relations. By discussing these contemporary issues, students will gain a deep understanding of the challenges that are facing our global community. And this makes us to think critically about the future of international relations. Welcome to Module 9, the final module of our journey through international relations. As we look to the future, we will discuss the evolving landscape of global politics and the emerging challenges that will shape the world of tomorrow in this module. We will examine the future directions in international relations. We will gain insight on the rising powers and shifting global dynamics, and this will give us an understanding on the impact of emerging powers on international relations. Module 9 is interesting because it gives a question of what is next for multilateralism. What is the future of multilateralism? This question will be answered as we go through this module. We will consider the emerging challenges, some of which include space as a strategic domain and oceanic governance. These are new frontiers of international competition and cooperation that will be learned in this module. As we conclude our exploration of international relations, it is important to remember that the future is uncertain, but the need for informed and engaged, globally conscious individual is very important. Thank you for joining me on the journey through international relations. Stay informed and stay engaged. Kindly subscribe to Mastering Up YouTube channel to get more educative content.